Welcome to episode 215. I'm Richard Hill, the host of the EcomOne Podcast, and this week we're doing it a little bit different. It's actually me for the first time in quite some time, and we're going to change the format up a little bit over the coming months. We've got some very exciting guests still coming through, but I'm going to jump on every now and then and do a little podcast or two about what's happening in the agency, in the industry, of course, and my thoughts on different things. And this week, we're talking AI. Now, I haven't done this yet in terms of AI episode, and it was time. So today, I'm going to lay bare and talk about our journey with AI in the agency, what we've been doing. I hope you enjoy it. If you really, really enjoy this episode, please don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast, and you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Okay, so here we are in the studio. And it's just me. I'm here on my own. I thought it was time for me to pop back up and do another episode. And I think it's quite timely because we've been very, very busy in the agency. We've been very, very busy exploring a lot of new AI within the industry, within the agency space, within e-commerce. So I thought I would drop on the podcast after 200 and nearly 13-ish episodes and do another episode. It's been quite a while. So I think I've mentioned quite a lot over the episodes that I go to a lot of expos, a lot of industry expos. I spent a lot of time at events. I think the last 3 months, I've been to about 30 different days of events, whether that's 3 or 4 days at an event, 3 or 4 days at an event, and so forth. And at events, I come away with a lot of ideas and meet a lot of people in the industry, in different industries, go to events in other industries, travel all around the world. It's quite an exciting place when you go to a lot of different events. And some of the people you meet, some of the ideas you get, really spearhead me with ideas. And probably circa 2 and a bit years ago, a lot of AI chatter at events, but not a lot of actionable insight. There's a lot of people talking about it, which I'm sort of still seeing in the wider sort of space now. But a few people mentioned a few tools, ChatGPT being one of them, a few of that content tools. So got back, very excited, came to the team and said, right, we're going to try and test some of these tools. And very, very quickly, we could see they were okay. They weren't great, but they were flipping okay, and the amount of output we create in our agency for clients. So working with a handful of clients, we were then testing. And, they got a bit better. And I think there was an initial pushback from the team, like, oh, golly, what's going to happen? Where are we going to be as an agency in terms of, the people, the team? So I was like, guys, we've got to embrace these things. And I sort of got a few of them together and said, look, over the years, running this business, running my businesses, when these things come along, we have to test, we have to try. And that's why I believe very much we're still here and we're still thriving. It makes me think of probably about 20 years ago when there was a massive change in Google Shopping, where actually it used to be free, if you can believe that. And Google Shopping was free, and it was called Frugal. But then they changed the game and you just had to pay, and everyone abandoned, this new thing. We can't survive this change. But actually it was a change for the better because a lot of people abandoned the free platform because they thought, can't afford that. But actually that took the competition from this to this. And for a couple of 3 years, it was a massive opportunity. Clicks were for pennies. First page of Google for pennies, which is almost a dream. And I sort of see that now very much so with the opportunity of AI. Of course, there's a lot of noise out there, but testing, trying different things. So a couple of years ago, we were testing various ChatGPT prompts and various other third-party content tools. And over the months and months and months, we got some very, very good outputs. But then it dawned on me maybe a year ago, do you know what? What else can we really, really do with AI within the agency? And that's where it sort of dawned on me to start auditing the time that each department spent on various tasks. But firstly, I started with myself. So, as a busy founder, lots going on, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to absolutely drill into what I'm spending my time on. And I've done that exercise before, on a manual process, but I actually use a tool called MemTime. And that enabled me to basically leave that running on my Mac, on my PC at home, my office machine, and then basically collate that data and look at the different areas that I was spending time on. And the idea was, what can I get rid of? Who can I give that to? And I actually hired an executive assistant a few months ago to help with some of that. But really, where can I use AI in some of this and some of these areas? And it became quite apparent that I was getting a lot of emails from, a lot of similar emails coming through. And it's like, right, well, I'm spending like half an hour a day, maybe 40 minutes a day replying to the same style emails, requests to come on the podcast, for example. Some will come in to me, some go to my colleagues and the team that run the podcast. But simple automations, but using then Claude integrations that have been trained in my voice, been trained in the way that I speak, the way I reply to emails, that would then basically intercept certain types of emails, and it would then create a response in my tone and set it to draft. And so we did that. It's not very advanced now. And then it was like, actually, that's flipping great. I'm looking at my inbox, and a lot of bits and bobs there are pre-replied to when I have a look in the morning, or the drafts are set. So that really got me thinking. I'd ordered some my time, and but obviously we're a team of 25 plus people here, and 100 plus projects, 100 plus clients that we work on. What can we do to really help the agency and the team and the clients? So there's a question that I ask a lot of my guests, and it is, what keeps you up at night? And I think for me, it is very much this AI piece. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of noise. Obviously, that's pretty standard for social media, but it's a lot wider than that, a lot deeper than that. Everywhere, in the traditional news, on the TV and so forth, and in print, AI. So what should we be doing? Where we should be spending our time? So we did this mini audit piece on myself, but then I was like, right, we really need to audit the tasks, the time and the tasks that we spend as a whole business on various tasks for clients. I've always lived by a sort of a, how can I put it? A methodology, a bit extreme, but a type of methodology that if I go to bed at night and I'm thinking about something, someone, a project, a thing in the business that is really niggling me, it's like, okay, and I wake up the next day, and then I'm maybe thinking about it again, some issue maybe, or some new tech that I want to try out, or somebody that I need to speak to, or how am I going to do something? And then I go to bed the next night, and I'm lying in bed again thinking, flipping it, that's it. That is it. I go to bed at night and I can't sleep maybe for a little while thinking about this thing a couple of times, then I need to sort it out. So AI was the thing that did, and maybe does a little bit still, keep me up at night. And that was it. It was like, right, what am I going to do about it? So having watched a very cool program on Amazon called the something games, I decided that we would launch what we called lovingly in the agency several months ago now, the AI games. Now, the AI games, the idea behind it was to enable all the team to be able to test, try different AIs, but really to really give them the sort of time, and they were allowed X amount of time over a 3-month period, a few months ago now, to test different tools in different departments. And what that enabled them to do was obviously go, maybe they've maybe not had time, and from a personal level, not maybe as much interest as they could have had. So we allowed them, a good amount of time for them to then spend in different areas of the business.
Now, you might be looking for an SEO boost, a down-to-earth digital PR campaign to share your story, or maybe just some straightforward technical help to amp up your performance. Now, that's where EcomNow comes in. A partner that's all about making things easier for your online store. Our services cover everything from creating professional content for your e-commerce categories to refining your product descriptions. Now, whether you're just starting out or have been in it for a while, we're here to deliver real, impactful results that add to your bottom line without unnecessary commitments. You can order one-off or multiple projects with a quick turnaround. Simply choose what you need.
So we split the team into 4: sales and marketing, looking at what we could use on the sales and marketing side of the business in AI to help propel the sales and marketing side of the business. Ads and design. We obviously have an ads side, a big part of our business. 50% plus of our business is running ads and performance marketing for clients. So what can we build and what can that team build to help the ads and the performance marketing side of the business? Then we've got SEO, search, content, getting our clients found in sort of non-paid areas where our clients' products may be required to be found. So a lot of content, a lot of technical strategy. And then we looked at operations, in terms of our own operations and some of our clients' operations. What can we build? So we got the teams together. We sort of announced we're going to do this. Everyone was very, very excited. And then we announced 4 captains for those teams. And so we had 4 guys here in the office, 4 people that looked after the 4 separate teams. And then I had myself and another colleague called Kieran, who's our head of technical. He's done an episode or 2 on the podcast, who would then give them so much time to help them build. So when I say help them build, it's obviously, all right, coming up with an idea, but then how do you create something if you've never really used any of the AI tools? That's a little bit of a stumbling block, but myself and Kieran have used quite a lot of the tools, as have quite a few of the others. So they went away, and I went into some of the various meetings they had, but it really gave them that sort of time and relaxation to not worry too much that, we're spending 3 hours on this. And what I wanted the outcome to be is ultimately that they got time to test, trial, and use some of these tools and not be afraid and see how they can help them and how they can help the business and how they can help their departments. And it was brilliant. It was very, very competitive, as you might imagine. You've got 4 departments that work very closely together, a lot of friendships, but ultimately they were all very, very keen to win. So we got the team together in one of the boardrooms, sort of 100 yards this way, and they all presented their ideas, and it sort of blew me away. So the sales and marketing team, they were looking at ways to help promote our agency from a sales and marketing perspective, and they built various tools. I'm not going to go into too much detail, using tools such as NAN. As an example, when you think about your business, if you could build out a newsletter that was automated based on industry news. So they did that, and they built a newsletter creator using a tool called N8N, and Claude using the tone of our agency. So we built a project in Claude that had been built by basically analyzing our website, our tone, our socials, had been given our tone of voice document, had been given our website to crawl, had been given our site map to understand who we are, what we do. And we've done that for a long while, that sort of type of thing for clients, and looking at building out a projects for different clients and so forth. But we did it for ourselves. And then from that, we then told it and gave and pointed it to different resources on the web that's to do with e-commerce and to do with the industry, looking at our events page, what's happening on our socials, and then build with our Claude prompt a newsletter that could go out and be pushed to LinkedIn and could go out and be pushed to our email, and building in various checks, checking itself, a manual check, of course, a massive on the manual checks. But we built this very, 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 very smart LinkedIn newsletter creator, which is fantastic. And that's quite a basic thing, really, but it was great to see the team sort of trying and testing these different things, and then obviously looking at that final output. And then they created an amazing video using a tool called Kling to sort of help them present their idea at the beginning, which is brilliant. And you'll see that on the socials before you know it. That will be out there by now, maybe. But it was great. But basically, it's an AI tool that will create video for you using stills. So that was brilliant. So each department presented their ideas. And basically, they used NAN, they used Lovable, they used Claude, they used ChatGPT, they used Airtable, and so on and so on and so on. It really gave them a breadth of experience between them all, where they've now embraced AI. And I think what might have helped, I actually gave £1,000 to the winning team. I think it's the best £1,000 we've ever spent at the agency, because it really spurred them on. So I was very happy to pay that out to the winning team. But I think one of the things we've been using AI for more and more, and I implore you to look at this, is analyzing data, and looking at data itself. For us, we create a lot of reports looking at data. It's very timely. When we think about reports going to clients, when we think about, an e-com store looking at reporting on their own success in different areas and analyzing that data using AI, we've had a lot of success with that. I think it's quite maybe scary and daunting to business owners, e-com stores, when there's so much going on. But as they'll know, and nearly all the platforms, nearly all the tech, all the SaaSes are embracing and bringing AI, whether it's your latest, platform change with their AI page builders, whether it's the personalization around product selection, product recommendation with some of your SaaSes that you're using. They're all embracing AI, and I think you have to do that. I think the reality is it is a very, very exciting time right now, no matter what business you're in. But I think, I implore you to sort of audit your day-to-day tasks, roles, tasks within those roles, departments, to see where you might be able to speed things up. Because I think if you can bring a little bit of automation or a lot of automation and AI into those departments, and I think the thing is, it's just surprising. It blows me away at just how quick things are getting better and better. So, for example, we think about ChatGPT or Claude. We use both, but Claude is our favorite for words. But 2 years ago, it wasn't that great. It was okay. But now it's flipping incredible. It is incredible. Obviously, they just launched ChatGPT 5. Claude, similarly, incredible, in terms of the quality that it can create with the right prompts, etc., and the right training. So you just don't want to be getting left behind. I think when you think about your business, I do genuinely believe, when I think about my business, that AI will not harm my business unless we don't embrace AI. And I think that's the best way to think. I think the businesses that embrace AI genuinely are the ones that are going to be, doing well. Just like over the last 20 odd years, those that have embraced digital, that have embraced changes that have come along, the ones that have thrived. So I think it's testing, it's trialing, really auditing what you're doing, and then seeing where you can maybe bring AI in to help speed things up, help things along. And then really it's then you become more cost effective. I think for me, it started with a curiosity, and I implore you to be a lot more curious than maybe I was a couple of years ago. I think spending that hour a day, looking at, understanding, reading, listening to podcasts, looking at the different tools and techs and subscriptions that you have, and who's using AI and who's not, and where they're maybe moving a little bit quicker. I think, for us, we use it a lot for making smarter decisions. So it helps us speed up those decisions. So something I now do, which people I think maybe have smirked at me quite a lot over the last few months, is I now take my phone and I will speak to ChatGPT and ask him, and discuss. So, hey, how are we doing today?
Hey there, we're doing great. It's always nice to chat with you, so just let me know whatever you need.
So I'm thinking of running an event right here in Lincoln. Now, last year we ran it at the Everyman Cinema. Great space, 150 people. It really was a good event, but I really, really want to improve on last year's event. Have you got any ideas around what we could do? Last year it was to celebrate the 200th episode of the EcomOne Podcast. This year it's going to be to celebrate the 222nd episode of the podcast. So the 222, the 222nd episode of the podcast. What could we do to make it one of the best e-commerce events in the UK?
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I love the 222 theme. Definitely a nice milestone to celebrate. So let's break it down into a few ideas you can use to really elevate the event. Creating a unique theme and atmosphere. First off, since it's the 222nd episode, you can lean into that theme and have a little bit of fun with it. Maybe even a 222 motif in the decor, or some kind of playful nod to the number 222 throughout the event. It can make it feel a bit special and memorable. Incorporating interactive elements. Another idea is to have more interactive sessions or workshops. Last year, if it was more of a straightforward celebration, this year you could have breakout sessions where people can actually engage with some of the topics you've covered on the podcast, maybe live Q&As or mini workshops led by some of your past guests, elevating the networking experience. You could also up the ante on networking. Think about having some kind of structured networking activity.
Stop.
Themes.
Stop for now, please. I'm always very polite to him because we've become friends. It's a bit crazy, but yeah, and I found it so useful when I've just got maybe an idea that I want to float. And that wasn't that great. There's some of those things we thought of, but some of those things we hadn't thought of, and then you just back and forth. So when I'm off for a walk for maybe 40 minutes, half an hour, it's definitely, I've had a few strange looks where I'm going, hey, what's this, and so forth. So just being able to do that and bounce off the AI. And I think from an e-commerce specific perspective, what AI is doing to search and the way people are searching is very interesting. So obviously, as an e-com store owner, if you're with us and listening, we talked about a lot of things there, but when we get into the specifics around e-commerce and how people are searching for your products, in terms of what I've just done there, if you were going to ChatGPT now and speak, or, choose your model that you use, Claude, ChatGPT, and so forth, I would implore you to try them all. And, what does it know about your brand? So ask it, what does it know? What do you know about? And then when we think about the products that you are selling and when you're speaking, find me the perfect 5-man tent for a day trip, or 3 days, 3,000 feet in the Lake District. Go, what and how is it searching? And what is it delivering? You need to be able to understand that. And that's something that our SEO team are sort of semi-obsessed with, and we're obsessed with. But, the different models are similar, but different, and I think, there's been a lot of, is SEO the same as GEO, generative SEO optimization? Started out of, it's the same, but it's not quite the same. It's maybe 95% the same, and it's still yet to be, defined, and the exact science behind it is still evolving. And that's why we love this stuff, because it's moving, changing. And that's where ourselves as an agency can really get a head start and a jump on a lot of agencies that are maybe a little bit steady with the way they react to change. So it's very, very exciting. So I'd really recommend you do that exercise, chat to your own ChatGPT chap lady and ask it about what it knows about this business, that business, and, and think about how you can then, improve what you're doing on the marketing side. I mean, it's still early days, I think, in terms of, search volume coming from LLMs and the likes of ChatGPT, etc., and Claude. I think, depending on whose stats you look at, it's sort of circa 1%, less than 1%. So it's still small, but 1%, 2%, 3%, let's sit here in 18 months' time, and then the way that Google's homepage, for example, obviously that Google's not the only place that we're focused on, but ultimately, a lot of our listeners rely on that organic and paid ads from Google. Now we've got the AI overlays, which have been around for quite some time now, getting into those, the different types of formats and the different types of sites that Google are citing. A lot of it looks like good link building, good digital PR, and absolutely we've been getting a lot of success from sort of listicle posts and strong digital PR. But then AI mode has now jumped in here in the UK. It's debatable, not long ago, a few months ago, and then a few months before in the US and etc. But again, that's going to change how people are searching. There won't be a top 10. That's where it's going, and so forth. It's going to be ask this LLM, this engine, and then the questions that are getting asked are getting a lot longer. Rather than 5-man tent, you wouldn't speak like that, would you? You would be, find me a 5-man tent that is really good for 3,000 feet hike. That's not a 3-word sentence. That's a sentence. That's 2 sentences almost. So how are you adapting your content strategy? And this blends well into, a lot of the stuff we talk about, over the years around FAQs and content and topical authority and building that out. but it's not exactly the same. It's very, very similar, but very, very interesting. So
absolutely. And I love how you're thinking out loud through all of this. It's really cool to see you kind of just using on how these changes are evolving. And you're totally right. It's a really exciting time because the way people are searching is getting more conversational. It's not just those short keywords anymore. And it does mean that, yeah, you have to think a little differently about content strategy and SEO. And it's weird that you're encouraging folks to just jump in and ask AI what it knows about their brand and play around, because that's how you learn it. It is early days, but it's going to be super interesting to see how this shifts over the next year or two. So yeah, it's a fun space to be in, and I'm glad you're enjoying that exploration.
I didn't know you were listening, you little bugger.
Oh, I'm always here, just quietly tuned in. Don't worry, I'm just sure for the little AI buddy tagging along for the ride. It's all good.
I think we'll wrap this one up, but a little short and sweet episode this time around AI and what we've been doing at the agency. I think the key thing is don't get left behind. Don't put the blinkers on and hope that you'll be okay in your space. I think, be inquisitive, like no doubt as a business owner, as a progressive marketer, you are, and try things, speak to our team, of course, if you've got any concerns around the marketing side of things. But yeah, go enjoy some AI. Cheers. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast. So you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.